The adding on is what this world already is propagating. This is what many people are living in. The world of adding stuff up. Why? Because, like we said before, we don't feel enough. That's why we keep on adding. Also realizing right now, yeah, but when will I finally be full? Never. With this approach, never. Because you keep on looking for the answer on the outside. But this year, we have to change our internal view on the world. What do you personally want to see in the world?
Yes, sir.
What do you think is missing in the world? If you could be the creator of this world and you see something is missing right now to make this world the place how you would like to see it and live in it, what would it be? More kindness? More understanding amongst people? Good. Then you are the one who starts with it. You are the one who's going to initiate this movement. The movement of more kindness towards the people, more work for the community, more understanding, more connection, whatever it is you think is missing, that's already the next purpose. So the next mission of this life maybe, or can be, it might be your job to create. It might be your privilege to create. Sometimes nowadays, people live this life, people have this body, people are able to speak, people are able to experience, but let's say they are still thinking about, let's say, committing suicide, for example. Happens. So you have an existence that has been given to you, yet you are not loving this existence, you are not appreciating this existence, you are the one who would like to end it. And then I just remind myself always again, how many beings are there that are simply not born? They wished to be born. They wished to have the chance that we have, being able to just sit here in this room having a conversation. And why can we do this? Because we have been gifted with the body, we have been gifted with the ability that we can develop throughout the lifetime when we grow up. So actually what we have, this life that has been given to us like a present, it's like a gift to cultivate, to take as good care of it as possible. And automatically by thinking like this means you need to love this one. You need to like it, because this is what carries you on this journey. Without this one, you can't do any of your dreams. You cannot fulfill any of your wishes, because this is the one who starts to manifest it. This year is the one who can see the things, is what can feel the things. But it's not the one, this one and this one is not enough to make it become real. To make it become real, we need action. We need the real effort and work that is being done by the human body.
Sorry about that, yo.
Yes. And this is now exactly that relation.
What's up? Welcome to another episode of Expansion Pack. I am your host, Dan. It ain't always gotta be happy. Today is a happy. It's a happy day. Mind your way Wednesdays. Back again, we go All right, let's jump straight to our motivation for the day. Send out these links.
This is a Kizik shoe. It's a hands-free shoe that you just slip right on and stays on. After years of development,
The system how
Pause this music. All right, let's rock.
it is, the system how it was, it brings out some consequences. One of these consequences is very intensively the feeling of many people not being enough. And so if there is a place to change this, so how do I get rid of this hole that constantly needs to be filled up? That is the main question. And there, I would say, it's the mental direction, it's the mental state. So where do I need to change it? It's in the mind. It's in the way how I look at the world. If you only look at the world based on the system that you have been raised up, of course you are then part of the system, but it's only one out of many systems that are existing in this world. So starting to expand the mind, starting to also look at other people, how are they living the life? That maybe opens up now suddenly another perspective that, oh, there is something beyond having good grades. There is something more relevant, maybe more important, more life accepting than running after grades and filling up your life with more and more burdens that at the end also don't make you feel more free. It just makes you feel more heavy, because that one system is trying to fill up that hole inside of you, always by putting something more on top of you. Because this is what we're doing. In the beginning, we don't have money. We work until we have the first amount of money. Then you have it. You spend it. Whatever you have spent it on, it's not enough. It was enough for that one day when you spend it. There, the feeling of fullness or satisfaction was quickly there. But it's the same. In the beginning, it's a Golf, a Volkswagen, then maybe a BMW. One day, you just keep working, no problem. It's going to be a Porsche. But it's not going to end at the Porsche. Promised. Either it's going to be the second Porsche or it's going to be another car. In the beginning, it was not even a smartphone. It's like the big, huge ones. Meanwhile, technology has moved on. But it has become normal that we are just simply spending the money on things that, I don't know, it has become convenient. But it's not, nowadays, it's not even filling up any gap there anymore. Because in our tradition, we think, yeah, it's the wrong approach. Many people don't see the things as they are. What does it mean? For example, this picture that we had before, that it's always about up, more. It needs to be filled up more. Yeah, it's never enough. So you want something, you work for it, you get it. In the moment you get it, you already have the next that you want. And it always moves on up this ladder. You always try to fill it up with something. This is also maybe one type of approach that this society, this world nowadays also wants to promote to you. That it's about having more, being more beautiful, higher, faster, harder, all of this. But when we simply observe how the things are, right now, yeah, it's 1 p.m. UK, looking outside, the sun is still shining, but in 7 hours, it's not going to look like this anymore. In 7 hours, something has dramatically changed, which meaning the daylight is gone. So what we then have is what we call simply night. Since we are born in this world, this has repeated every day. Sunrise, sun goes down. So that means there is a up, there is a down. Since we are born, we have inhaled, 50% of our times, we have exhaled 50% of our times. Our heart, the same. Sucking the blood, pumping the blood, also the same. Meaning always 50-50. Always the exchange between left and right, up and down, bright and dark, in and out, success and failure. It's just that this world is not propagating failure to you. It is propagating success to you. So our mind is looking for success, starting to believe there's only one way, there's only one direction in this life that we live, which is about moving upwards. But this world is not just about upwards. So realizing this, really understanding, it's not just about up. It's not just about taking. It's about taking and giving. It's about relaxing and doing. It's about exchange. It's about constant exchange with you, your peers, with people around you, with the world. It's about exchange, because exchange means there is a change. There's constantly happening some transformation. And this is what out there, this is what everything is built upon.
Carrying extra fat is dangerous.
Hold
this
up,
is how to get rid of it.
Let go, let
If
go,
you
let
want to
go.
drop
Exchange.
this, start eating more of these.
Oh, we done. See, that wasn't deep. That wasn't deep enough. Let's
long
get some
as you're-
quotes. Let's say some quotes. Wisdom through quotes. They ain't strike the chord enough. We ain't strike the chord enough. All right, let's go. Let's see what they got right here.
The bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that
I
resists.
think we seen this one. Hold on. Let me just go to one. Hopefully we ain't seen yet. All right, yeah. We ain't finished this.
Life is like an elevator. On your way up, sometimes you have to stop and let some people off.
Sir, there you go. He already on fire. He already on fire. He done buffered on me. I thought it was gonna come back after I said that last fire.
Falling apart.
All right, let's go.
They may actually be falling into place. Some people are like clouds. When they disappear, it's a beautiful day. Life is like an elevator. On your way up, sometimes you have to stop and let some people off. Weak people revenge, strong people forgive, intelligent people ignore. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried.
Yes, sir. Look at him, look at him, look at him.
Only trust someone who can see these three things in you: the sorrow behind your smile, the love behind your anger, and the reason behind your silence. If your absence doesn't affect them, your presence never
Matter.
Work for a cause, not for applause. Live life to express, not to impress. What consumes your mind controls your life. If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Admit when you're wrong. Shut up when you're right. Once you realize you deserve better, letting go will be the best decision ever. Always know the difference between what you're getting and what you deserve. Don't be afraid of being different. Be afraid of being the same as everyone else. Respect is earned. Honesty is appreciated. Trust is gained. Loyalty is returned. You have to fight through some bad days to earn the best days of your life. The expert in anything was once a beginner. The truth doesn't cost anything, but a lie could cost you everything.
Yes, sir. That's what it means.
Sometimes your circle decreases in size, but increases in value.
Well, as a guard like White, you need to score inside.
Yes, sir. That's what it means.
One day, you will wake up and there won't be any more time to do the things you've always wanted. Do it now.
Trying to catch your breath? Because I see you hopping between softwares all day instead of using Connect Team, the all-in-one platform to
I think there is only one quality worse than hardness of heart, and that is softness of head. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. The longer we dwell on our misfortunes, the greater is their power to harm us. The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's my guy.
Better a broken promise than none at all. If you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right. Don't hit it at all if it is honorably possible thing. You're right. If you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right.
Yes, sir.
Don't hit it at all if it is honorably possible to avoid hitting, but never hit soft.
Yes, sir.
Do what you can with what you have, where you are. A gem cannot be polished without friction,
Yes, sir.
nor a man perfected without trials. A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. We should not, like sheep, follow the herd of creatures in front of us, making our way where others go, not where we ought to go. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We live only now. Everything else is either past or is unknown. You are lonely, not because no one needs you, but because you care about who is next to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Learn from who you were. Appreciate who you've become. And carefully invest into who you want to be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, and we up out of here for the day. So let's get this topic started. Let's get this topic started. started in here. So we pushing the limits on finding our way or navigating our way through life. Let me get you over to the chilling scene. We're gonna push these limits. We looked at some of the new technology yesterday on Tech Tuesday, and I like tech. It is what it is for the most part, and I'm privileged, cursed and privileged. If we take what my man's was saying about exchange, it's all an exchange. To have seen all of it, from the old to the new to the latest now, to from the oldest in the back in the day, and watching it grow, the electricity shift and change and grow the way that it has been a privilege for me. I really look at it that way only because I got to have Super Nintendo. Let me see. Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation, all of these devices, TVs, flat screen TVs, and I know that everyone didn't get it. Everyone hasn't had that privilege around the world globally, from my knowledge and from my perspective. So yeah, I'm glad to have been able to access and use it. Has it made me the best person in the world? No. Has it made me the worst person in the world? No. I would like to think that it's just been a part of my world. That's all. It's just been something that's been here, just like grass has been here. And you can't stop the electricity one way or the other. It comes in the form of lightning if you want to be as basic as you can go. But the way we've done it, from having the horse pulled carriage to driving electric cars, hey, I get around. I get around because of it, and I want to say thank y'all for thinking of it. Anyway, so today we are going to keep on pushing the limits with using and building tech of our mind. So there's some basic devices, and I want to look it up more so on YouTube and see what YouTube University say about it than my own wording. But I'll tell you this: there's devices of your mind that you use every single day, and they could empower you and they could destroy you. Just like your car took you to the party that night that you got drunk, and you was like, man, I wish I never drink that. You know what I'm saying? So your car ain't do nothing wrong. It just did what you told it to do. It drove you to where you wanted to go. So I really think that when we looking at the pushing these limits, we should look at the devices that we use every day, like remembering. That's a device of our mind. How you using it? Are you using it to remember the things that are gonna help you get through the day? Or are you using it to remember the things that may be slowing you down during the day? So look, let's say, so there's mnemonic. I think I'm saying it right. Mnemonic devices. Let's see what these are. I'm pretty sure y'all use these all the time. You just don't call it mnemonic devices. Mnemonic devices. All right, check it out. Watch this.
I'm so excited about this. I matched at Advent Health, the emergency medicine program there. Advent Health was my first choice.
My parents worked hard for everything we had. They taught me the value of $1 and how to use it wisely. Those lessons are forever. And today, I share them with all our employees.
There are certainly ways to improve your overall ability to remember information, like getting more sleep or taking B12 vitamins, but this video is not about those tricks. It's about a type of memory tricks called mnemonics. But what is a mnemonic? Well, mnemonics are memory tricks that can help you remember long strings of information, often in a particular order. Mnemonic devices have helped people achieve phenomenal feats in the world of memory, from memorizing 40,000 digits of pi to knowing the order of a whole deck of cards. You can use them to help you remember phone numbers, create a more secure password, or maybe one day break a world record. So let's start off with chunking. If you've watched my video explaining short-term memory, you have already heard a little bit about this mnemonic device. See, short-term memory storage can only hold 5 to 9 items of information at a time, but this storage can also hold up to 4 chunks of information. The process of chunking information is explained in the name. If you're given multiple pieces of information to memorize, chunk it up into groups. Now the groups could be based on the position in which you learn the information, similarities between the pieces of information that you need to memorize, or anything that helps you remember the information. One common example of chunking is the way that we memorize phone numbers. We split the 10 numbers into 3 chunks. First, the 3-digit area code, then the next 3 digits of the actual number, and then the last 4 digits of the number. Even if you can't normally remember 10 numbers in sequential order, you are likely to remember 3 chunks of information. Number 2 is an acronym. Now, an acronym is a simple abbreviation for a list of information that makes the phrase ordering easier to remember. So think back to your grade school days. Do you remember what PEMDAS means? Go back to even further, preschool. What does Roy G. Biv stand for? These are examples of acronyms. See, it's not easy to remember parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction in order on a math test when you first learned it. But PEMDAS is just one word. 10 years after your last math class, PEMDAS is likely to stick. That's the beauty of an acronym. It's a single word, or maybe a phrase, or a title, but it reveals a lot of information that you otherwise would not have been able to remember in the correct order. Let's move on to number 3. Some people don't remember PEMDAS. They remember it as, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." If you were taught this trick to remember how to solve math problems, you weren't using an acronym. You were using something called an acrostic to help you remember information in an important order. An acrostic is when you turn an acronym into a sentence to increase the likelihood of recalling it by giving it just a bit more meaning. Take a moment to think of some other examples of acrostics. "Every good boy does fine" is probably familiar to people who took an elementary school music class. "My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas" is also a great way to remember the order of the planets in our solar system from the sun. Usually, the sillier and the more unique that they are, the easier they are to remember. Now, this is also a great method in creating a secure password. Try to think of a quote from a movie that you like, one that would be easy to recall. For example, the famous line, "May the Force be with you" from Star Wars. Now that sentence is likely too long or too easy to be a password, but MTFBWU is a more random password that is easy for you to remember, but more difficult for someone to guess. If you add some numbers in another favorite quote, then the strength greatly increases. Number 4 is a memory palace. Now you might be familiar with this mnemonic if you've ever watched Sherlock Holmes. Started with the ancient Greeks, a memory palace is a virtual palace in your mind where you associate items to objects in each room. See, most people start with their childhood house or a current house because they're most familiar with it. You go around to each room and you try to pick out 4 to 5 specific objects to remember. These are called your permanent items. And then once you have those memorized, and you can easily recall them, for example, let's say the 3rd item in your 2nd room, and you can do that reliably, then you can move on to associating things with each permanent item. Humans have an associative memory, which is why this technique works so well for those who invest in it. If you want to remember the order of a deck of cards, you can do it pretty easily with a memory palace. You just assign each card to an object in your house using association, and then you should be able to recall it with ease. But this mnemonic takes a lot of time and practice to develop, and it shouldn't be used for things that are time sensitive. However, it is great for knowing the order of lists that are larger than 10 items. I have a whole video coming out on this soon if you're interested, so go ahead and click that subscribe button if you aren't already. Number 5 is rhyming. Another mnemonic device that seems to work well, especially when we are children, is simply rhyming things. It works great with music too, and it works well with other pieces of information. So, when did Columbus sail the ocean blue? It was in 1492. Another example is the famous I before E except after C, even though there's like 20 exceptions to that rule. Lastly, we have number 6, which is rhythm and music. The last mnemonic I have for you guys is using music or a rhythmic beat. You might not know this, but Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and the ABC song, they have the same notes and rhythm. In fact, music is so great at helping people encode memories. I did this cool little trick on my last vacation. I went down to Florida with my sister a couple months ago, and that's when Drake's Money in the Grave song came out. I listened to that song like 20 to 40 times while I was there, and it was stuck in my head. Then we came back from vacation, and now whenever I listen to that song, I'm always reminded of the beach and the salty, dry
that's
air.
my guy.
You can create your own song or reword lyrics to help you memorize something, because rhythm and musical notes work very well when encoding information in your long-term memory storage. One more thing I want to talk about in this video are famous mnemonists. If you're interested in learning more about mnemonics, I recommend that you look into the experts. These professionals are known for their extraordinary memories. One of the most famous mnemonists of all time was simply called S for decades. He's described in the book The Mind of a Mnemonist in 1968. And while the book is slightly fabricated and dramatized, it tells the fascinating story of a man who, it seemed, could remember just about anything. Further reporting and research revealed that S, whose full name was Solomon Cherevshevsky, was not a man with photographic memory. He was just a skilled mnemonist, who probably had fivefold synesthesia. If you want to learn more about him, you can check out my video on photographic memory. Many mnemonists, however, have followed in his footsteps. In the 1980s, 2 mnemonists made the Guinness Book of World Records for reciting over 30,000 digits of pi, and the current world record holder is 40,000 digits of pi, right from their long-term memory. The World Memory Championships has taken place every single year since 1993, and one of the most memorable winners is Alex Mullen. Mullen was the first American to win the World Memory Championships, and he has achieved the highest score in the history of the competition. Ending this video, I want to let you know if you want a baseline of your current short-term and long-term memory, I've actually created the first ever online test for both of them. All you have to do is check that link in the description below, and you can take that quiz for yourself absolutely free. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you in the next video.
Y'all take this test with me real quick.
How much time do you spend writing at work?
A few hours a day.
So I have work-related trivia questions.
Let's listen to something in the background as we take the test. Let me see.
Students with ADHD save.
Let's take this test.
Creating mnemonics is easy, but remembering them is difficult, unless you use the principles of memory science to create them. Let's learn to create powerful and easy-to-remember mnemonics. Powerful mnemonics are simple, relevant, and visual. Let's discuss these.
And my mouse acting stupid. Alright. Please make a mental note of the following animals. Alright. Please note the following numbers. Okay. Cool. Okay, I will. I hope y'all remember the numbers. Was that the numbers? Nah, I think it was here. Alright, cool. Can I not hit this? Can I just type them in? 6, 7, and 2. 6, 7, 2. They won't let me do it. I hope this was it. How it ain't no 7? Y'all ain't letting me put. Dang. 865 314. Cool. Hey, did I get it right? Yeah, my mind is giving up on me. 4, 1, 5, 9, 6, 4, 2, 8. I don't know. I'm guessing now. Yeah, I'm done. When they gonna give me? When they gonna give me the answer? I don't know. How did I do? Here's the overall Okay, given at the end of the test. Is this me? Ah, forget it. I'm done. I'm done, y'all. I won't take no more of that memory test. That was fun, though, for me. I don't know how many numbers that was. Alright, let's keep moving on. Let's see some more of these devices. Let me see. Brain tricks. Let me see. Hold up. I want to save that to watch later. Oh, maybe I should put brain hacks. Alright, here we go. I can't do a TED Talk. Sorry, y'all. Alright, let's see what my girl got.
Are you ready to see your brand on TV? Your competitors will wish they had known about Vibe. With Vibe.
Have you ever tried meditating, but it was so difficult to do? When you sit in meditation, do you have questions like, what do I think about? How can I focus better? How can I get the best session out of my meditation? There are many articles and information online that tell you the best potions, the best crystals, the best room decor, the best lighting to give you the best meditation session. But actually, meditation comes down to a science. And in this video, I'll tell you how to get down to a meditative state from a scientific way. If you're new here, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and click the bell for notifications for each new video. I would say most people, when they think about meditation, they have one clear image that comes to their head. They think of a monk sitting on a mountaintop, surrounded by beautiful nature and quiet, maybe in a hand shape like this, chanting for hours on end. Do you have that image also? In our fast-paced 21st century, who has the time to sit there and chant Om to get a little bit of peace and quiet? So forget everything you know about meditation, forget the crystals, forget the lighting, forget everything that you think meditation should be, and let me explain to you meditation based on your brain waves. In other words, meditation is not just for hippies. Meditation is science. Your brain produces a frequency based on how much activity or lack of activity there is going on inside. Even if you're sitting still, if you have a lot of mental activity, your brain waves are looking like this. And you could be running around doing something, but if you're mentally calm, your brain waves will be much slower. In a nutshell, meditation comes down to the state of your brain waves. There are 5 brain waves we experience, and this is the order from most active to least active. First one, most active brainwave, is called gamma wave. In gamma, this is when you're in intense focus, when you're zoning in on something and nothing is bothering you. This is a high state of focus and alert attention. Next is beta wave. Beta is when you're in a normal state. You're in everyday conversation, you're maybe scrolling through your phone, maybe you're on the computer. When you're learning something, you out there watching this video, you're experiencing a beta state. Afterwards is alpha. Now, alpha is the important brainwave because alpha is the brainwave of meditation. This is when your brainwaves are calm, relaxed, but you're still focused. It's different from relaxed and sleepy, relaxed and focused. This is the meditative brainwave state. Next is theta, and theta is when you're experiencing light sleep. And then after that is the slow delta, when you're experiencing a deep level of sleep. So scientifically speaking, all meditation is for your brain waves to be experiencing the alpha state. So whatever you do, if your brain waves are in an alpha state, that's when you feel like you're in a meditation. So now you may be wondering, how can I get my brain to an alpha state? The easiest way to control your brain waves is to control your breathing. It's not easy to mind control your way into relaxation, but the shortcut, the hack that you can slow down your brain waves is by slowing down your breath. Think about it. When you're in an agitated, excited state, how do you breathe? Very shallow and fast, right? Now think about the other hand, when you're in a very relaxed, calm state, how do you breathe? Deep and long. So when you're in some sort of anxiety or when you're in some sort of chaos and you can't focus, the hack to get your brainwaves to quiet down to alpha, to experience the meditative state, is to make your breaths long and deep. So even in your meditation session, when you're sitting down in your room and trying to meditate, focus on your breathing. Listen to your breath, feel your breath. If your breath is fast and shallow, your brain waves will be very agitated and hyper. When you can change your breathing to long and deep, you will experience a drop, quieting of your brain waves, and you will get a better meditation session. If you want to learn more in detail about how to breathe long and deep, I'll link a video in the description below of a past video I did about how to breathe to reduce anxiety. So in that video, you'll learn how to breathe long, deep breaths to calm down and quiet your brainwaves into a meditative alpha state. So in your next meditation session, focus on your breathing, take long, deep breaths, and let me know in the comments below how it went.
Sure
I would love to hear what you have to say. So one more time, repeat after.
All right, let's keep going. Dr. Daniel. Let's see what he got.
The pineal gland has tiny little cilia, hair-like extensions all around it.
To summarize, compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, vision for your future, perfect day, and the blessing. And now what I'd like to do is actually take you through this. And don't worry if you don't capture it all now intellectually. This exercise is freely available all over the web. I'll show you the Google term to put in so you'll find it. There are infographics on it, apps on it. It's used quite widely. So I'm going to sit down and I want you to just find a comfortable position and listen to my voice. Now as we do this, I'm going to play a background sound, which is from one of the companies that I invested in, which is a sound designed to help you relax. It's called Om Harmonics. It will help you relax, okay? And I want you to just listen to my voice as I guide you through this. This is going to take 10 minutes, okay? Everyone ready? So let's begin. Listen to the sound of my voice. Feel yourself going into a relaxed state of mind. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. We will start this exercise with phase 1. Imagine yourself surrounded in a bubble of white light. Fill this bubble with a feeling or an energy of compassion and love. Feel yourself surrounded by this energy of love and compassion. You're now expanding this bubble to encompass everyone in this room. Feel everyone in this room surrounded by this energy of love and compassion. As you exhale, the bubble expands further and now encompasses everyone in this city block. Feel everyone in this city block feeling love and compassion. As you exhale, imagine this energy permeating the entire city. Now the country. Now see a vision of the earth in front of you. And as you exhale, see this energy encompassing the entire earth. Feel yourself connected to every living creature, plant, animal, and human being on earth. Feel an energy of love and compassion radiating from you to earth. We now go on to phase 2. I want you to think about anywhere from 1 to 3 things in your personal life that happened in the last 24 hours or past few days that you could be grateful for. It could be a delicious cup of coffee, a hug from a loved one. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. And as you bring back to mind and memory this moment, feel that little feeling of joy that you had when you experienced it. Now think about your career and your livelihood. Think about anywhere from 1 to 3 things that you're grateful for that have happened in your career. Could be a project gone well, a raise, a business project that's blooming. Bring back to mind the feeling you had when you experienced this. Now think about yourself. Think about anything from 1 to 3 things that you truly love and adore about yourself.
No one seems to know this, but Amazon actually has a $50 million fund that they have to pay out.
Feel a feeling of pride and gratitude for having these qualities or opportunities. As you do this, it helps if you can recreate in your mind the emotion that you experienced when you first experienced these things. Now we go on to phase 3, forgiveness. Bring to mind someone. It could be someone recent, someone from the past, whom you feel you still have a charge that you need to forgive. See them in front of you. And repeat mentally after me. I forgive you. And I ask you to forgive me. We now go on to phase 4. I want you to see some aspect of your life 3 years in the future. Could be you experiencing your ideal body and health, or your ideal love, or your ideal career, or adventure, or growth, or contribution. Pick any one of these. And feel the joy you would feel as if it were already happening. Play around with this for a few seconds. If everything could go well for you, if you had incredible luck and support, what would that aspect of your life look like 3 years from now? Feel the feeling you would have as if this were true. Now bring your attention back to today as we go into phase 5, visualizing your perfect day. I want you to think about what you have to do today and visualize each hour of the day unfolding in the most perfect possible way. You could visualize it, or you could simply make a statement such as, I'm going to have an amazing lunch with so-and-so. As you do this, pretend that you have power over how your life and your day is going to unfold. And you could direct things to appear, unfold, and flow to you simply by your thought. Just pretending it so tends to give you a sense of control and power that often leads to you having more positive experiences throughout the day. And now, we move on to the final phase, phase 6. You've visualized yourself 3 years in the future. You've decided on how your perfect day is going to unfold. I want you to now imagine as if there's a higher power above you. It doesn't matter what your religious or spiritual beliefs are. The important thing is as if you feel that there's an energy or higher power supporting you in all your visions and intentions. Imagine a beam of light flowing down from above to the top of your head. Feel this as a warm, positive, loving, supportive energy, and feel it gently flow down from the top of your scalp down to your forehead, your eyes, your face, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, all the way down to your fingers, your chest, your abdomen, your hips, your upper legs, your knees, your calves, and your feet, all the way down to your toes. Imagine yourself thanking this higher power or this supportive energy, and see yourself ready, empowered to face your day. At the count of 5, I'm going to count you awake. 1, 2, 3, coming out slowly now. 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before.
Yes, sir. So, you just programmed yourself subconsciously.
The greatest chemical factory on the planet is here. If you are a good manager of this, you can create any experience that you want from within. And what they will experiment is how…
I don't want nobody to just talk, I want some more hacks.
I have dealt with mental and emotional struggles for a very long time. I was also dealing with the fear of embracing negative.
So my name is Manuel. I'm a cognitive neuroscientist working at the Synthetic, Perceptive, Emotive, and Cognitive Systems Group in Barcelona, which is
Y'all
a
don't
great
like
place to
listening
be.
to this, then
However, my talk will feature stuff I
Sorry.
did earlier at the Institute of Cognitive Science in Osnabrück, Germany, which is also a great place to be. Not as great as Barcelona, though.
Okay, so you ready to go? Are you ready? Okay, let's do it. Go.
Right, now that you know who I am, what am I going to talk about? Brain hacks. Well, what is a brain hack? A brain hack is just like a regular hack, just that it happens in the brain, which means you identify some neuronal mechanism that was evolutionary probably developed to do something else, and then you understand this mechanism and you try and hijack or manipulate or exploit it to do something different, right? Now, brain hacks is not a new thing. Everybody does it, and the most prominent example are probably schools, right? The mechanism in question is learning. Now, learning isn't something that you do or don't do. It's something you do automatically. Your brain just sucks up information all the time. And school is the idea, well, let's just put the children into an environment where we control the input to this mechanism. Problem is, as brain hacks go, schools suck. They're really bad. They're ill-conceived. They are poorly implemented. They are cruelly executed. They are inefficient. It's a bit like you found this car that just keeps magically going forward, and you want to steer it into your direction of your willing, but the best thing you can come up with is jumping on it and bashing the wheels with a huge sledgehammer until it turns into your direction. So the problem is, if we want to do a good brain hack, we have to understand the stuff. And if you Google for brain hacks, you get a lot of bullshit about brain movement stuff, which doesn't explain you how it works. So I want to talk about hacking new qualitative experiences. Now, what are these? Philosophers call that qualia. And it's a bit difficult to explain if you're not into philosophy, but there's a very, very simple analogy. And if you look at this picture, now try to explain how this picture feels to a blind person. All right? It doesn't work. You can't. If you've never experienced something, then it's impossible just by different means to get the same sensation. Sensation is something that you have to directly experience immediately. You can imagine it, but to imagine it, you have to have this experience before. Or with the words of Louis Armstrong, okay, if you gotta ask, you ain't never gonna know. Right, so qualitative experience is something magical. And for a long time it wasn't understood how these worked. And now we're trying to get a grip on it with a theory called sensory-motor contingencies. Now, what are these? Well, the classical model of how humans and robots and whatsoever work is a model called perceive, think, act, which is robot drives around and sees the world and sucks up all the information and builds a model of the world and thinks about, oh, what should I do next, and then acts. Now, this doesn't explain a lot of things. But it makes up for very beautiful diagrams, which is, I think, why it was popular in the 50s, because people loved Aries in the 50s. And it doesn't explain qualitative experiences and why you can figure out yourself, exercise to the reader. Now, think you're a submarine captain, right? And you're cruising around in the sea, and a vicious sea monster just plucks up all your cables and plugs them in differently. What do you do to regain control over your submarine? Well, you just have to pull every lever and push every button and see what does it do? How does it change my sensor readings, right? And this is how you establish a sensory motor contingency. You have to interact with the world. And you have to find out, if I do this, what will happen? And you have to find out what the lawful relations are. Okay? So it's about the statistical regularities about how you move in the world and how the world moves back. That has been identified as a key process in establishing qualitative experiences. Right, now that we know it, let's build a new one. Okay, where do we start? Well, we need a new way of interacting with the world. And what we are going to do is we are going to have a sense of north, just like pigeons do. And we build this by giving our subjects a belt equipped with an electron compass and loads of little vibrators around your waist. Now, what it does is it will buzz wherever north is. Where's north? Can anybody tell me? No. There. Okay, so it will buzz there, and as I turn around, the buzzing will turn around me as well. So subjects wear this for 6 weeks, all day long. And this is what the newest generation looks. So those little vibrators are now actually very cheap cell phone pager motors. and it's technically very sophisticated because it's all modular and does Bluetooth and whatsoever. But yeah, the basic idea is we do loads of tests before, and then people wear this belt for 6 weeks, and we do loads of tests after. And during the 6 weeks, they wear it all day long. Like they get up, put on the belt, and only put it up for down for taking a shower. So now, what kind of test do you want to do to see whether you actually have developed a new sensory motor contingency or a new modality, a new qualitative experience? As cognitive scientists, we're not just interested in the brain, we want to understand everything bottom up to the very top levels of understanding. So we're not just doing brain scans. Of course, we're doing brain scans because this is what we get money for, but we also do sleep EEG to monitor learning. We do nystagmography. If you don't know what it is, don't worry, I didn't know it before. We do lots of virtual reality experiments because we can manipulate the world. Some homing, like pathfinding tasks, space perception, and interviews. Now, I want to talk about interviews, which you might find surprising for a neuroscientist, but the problem is to explain the neuroscience data, I need more than 7 minutes, lots. Interviews are pretty simple because people tell you something, right? And now what do they tell you? After wearing this belt for 6 weeks, they get a strange sense of expanded space. The space around them grows. How do you imagine that? Well, the space here is currently what I perceive as one consistent space, this room, right? If I had to point out to the coffee machine in the basement, I couldn't. No, it's you know, I have to think about how to go through there. It's somewhere there, but I don't know for sure. The space around these people grow to an extent where they can easily point out, well, this is there, and the Alexanderplatz station is there, however, the Dönerbude is a bit more there, and so on and so forth. So the space that they perceive as one grows. And this is what you can do with a relatively cheap setup, and I challenge you to build your own. Just go downstairs to the hardware hacking lab, grab an Arduino, hook up some pager motors. You don't need to use 30, you can use 10 or 20, wear this belt for a week, 2 weeks, a day, 2 months, you will see something happening after 5 or 6 hours. Thank you very much.
Carrying extra fat is dangerous. This is how to get rid of it.
If you say something else.
Want to drop this?
Well, that's what's up, though. All you need to do is walk around with your compass, your magnetic compass on you. But his was in the form of a belt. I got a way I could do that. Let's see what else they got.
What is the best brain hack I know? And I've done a lot of brain hacks because I used to suffer from brain fog a lot. I used to suffer from, because I used to eat the standard American diet. I used to eat the SAD diet. And I used to eat 4 to 6 meals a day. I was like addicted to food. I used to have brain fog, and my energy levels would be going up and down like a yo-yo during the day. My emotions would be going up and down like a yo-yo. You know, 1 minute I'm happy, next minute I'm angry, another minute I'm this, I'm that. And so I was going with whatever foods I was eating. It was messing around with my thing. So there's one of the most powerful I've done, like coffee is one of those. Coffee, modafinil. Modafinil is a narcolepsy tablet. But if you take it, if a normal person takes it, like I don't know, I used to take like 1/4, 1/5 of the dose, I think. And that used to give my brain a boost for the next 12 hours. Bacopa, you know, Indian herbs, ginseng, ginkgo biloba, mentioned coffee, green tea, all of these, fasting is really important. If you're on a deadline and you got a project and you got to be done in the next 5 days, whatever it is, fast. Once you train your body to fast, then it does it naturally, then it improves your performance. So you have to condition your body for this, right? So don't just do it off the bat. Build it up. Brain hacks. Oh, the biggest brain hack, by the way, that beats all of them. That beats taking modafinil, that beats coffee, beats all the different hacks, breath work, all of that kind of stuff, exercise. The biggest brain hack, and I've been using this for like almost 10 years now, it's part of my normal life, It's called keto. It's when you get your brain to run off ketones. That's when the magic happens. Because at the moment, your brain, like my brain, is running off ketones. Your brain is running off sugar. And so there's a big disparity between them. But when you get your brain to run on ketones, which is fat, brain fog, what's brain fog? Your brain's too slow? What's your brain's too slow? You don't have enough energy now. You got plenty of energy.
See.
So yeah, keto. Enjoy.
Let's see what this is. Let's see what they say.
This is how AI optimizes my schedule. This meeting got canceled. Hooray! We didn't really want.
Step aside, Atkins. There's a new fad diet in town. The ketogenic diet, or keto for short. Celebrities like Halle Berry, Kourtney Kardashian, and Vanessa Hudgens all swear by it. And if losing weight is your goal, keto works. It's proven to help you shed pounds fast. But there's more to this diet than meets the eye. Keto basically replaces carbs with fat. A typical keto diet looks like this.
Let me see.
70% fat, 25% protein, and 5% carbohydrates. It's a drastic change from the diet that the USDA recommends for most Americans, which is less than 30% fat, 20 to 35% protein, and at least 50% carbs. And it's a significant change for your body's metabolism too. Usually when you eat carbs, like a starchy potato, enzymes in your mouth, stomach, and small intestines break them down into a form of sugar energy called glucose, which your brain and body use to break them carbs, like a starchy potato.
Right.
Enzymes in your mouth, stomach, and small intestines break them down into a form of sugar energy called glucose, which your brain and body use for fuel. So when you first skip out on carbs, the first couple days you might experience some strong sugar cravings. That's because your body is switching gears from burning carbohydrates to the only energy it has left, fat.
Right.
Once you're burning fat regularly, you'll see those pounds start to melt away. Depending on your weight, you might lose up to 3.5 pounds within that first week. As you burn more fat, levels of insulin, the fat storing hormone, will drop significantly. This triggers your kidneys to release large amounts of sodium into the blood, which can actually lead to a common side effect known as the keto flu. Many keto dieters report symptoms like nausea, headaches, dizziness, muscle cramps, and low energy levels. But most of these symptoms will only occur within the first couple weeks of starting the diet. After the first month, the scales will look better, but some of that lost weight isn't actually fat, it's just water. Because some of the carbs you metabolized include glycogen, which retains water and therefore helps keep you hydrated. As a result, you're likely to pee more often, which will lower your sodium levels even more, leading to dehydration, constipation or diarrhea, and bad breath. Once you're a couple months in, you might hit the notorious keto plateau. It's a common term in the keto community. It refers to when people find it progressively harder to continue to lose more weight. One study, for example, found that overweight people lost an average of 15 pounds in the first month, another 11 pounds over the next 2 months, but after that, they saw no change in body weight, despite sticking to the keto diet. At this point, many people will just quit keto. That's why researchers often find it so hard to study the long-term effects of the diet. But as it turns out, there's one group that typically sticks to keto for a really long time. It's unclear why, but keto is proven to reduce the symptoms of epilepsy. And studies show that epileptic children who stay on a very restricted keto diet for several years can suffer from kidney stones, high cholesterol, and bone fractures. But a typical keto diet won't be nearly as strict. And if you want to try keto, you should talk to your doctor first. In the meantime, go ahead and get that bread. And remember, the best diet is a balanced one of fat, protein, and yes, even carbs. Very good.
All right, let's go back. Let's keep going. Hold on, I gotta put the filter on. Gotta put the filter on. Alright, psyched to go. Come on.
Think about a child you love. Now take away their clean clothes, access to water, and the roof over their head. Take away.
Have you ever looked at yourself either in the mirror or by self-reflection and thought, why am I like this? Why do I keep messing up? I just have crap genes. I can't seem to stop myself. Yes, you have. We all have. You don't have to admit it out loud, just know that we get it. We're here to bring some hope, and it's called neuroplasticity. It's a real sciencey term that means that your brain can modify, adapt, and not only change how it does its thing, but its structure too. In other words, your brain is not stuck in a state of being rigidly absolute. You know, like a Sith. Even Vader switches sides. We're gonna give you a few ways to access that flexy bendiness to let your inner Jedi thrive. Number 1, play video games. It's not just a rumor. Video games can expand your brain's abilities, no matter what boomer types might say. There have been several scholarly, serious studies done on the effects of various video games on the brain. They've been found to increase and improve a wide range of functions like problem solving, decision making, and motor coordination. And that's just the tip of the proverbial iceberg. If you take a step back and think about it, it makes sense, especially with how intricate and advanced video games are today. They give us life function practices by mimicking in real life interactions. So like, no, you're not gonna open your door to see World of Warcraft's Stormwind City across the street, but as a player, you'd recognize it in game. In fact, you'd recognize lots of regularly visited places within the game. This extends to having better scene recognition overall in real life. Video games basically trick you into practicing something for several hours. Not that we'd know anything about that. Number 2, breathe deeply. It sounds cliche, but it's true. There's breathing, and then there's breathing. When you take those all the way down belly breaths, that's deep breathing. When you do this, it's like a quickie mini meditation. Your heart rate sinks to your breath, and your brain gets more of that sweet, sweet oxygen. This, in turn, gives your brain the A-OK to give the vagus nerve some encouragement. The vagus nerve is the main manager of the relaxation, rest, and digest nervous system. This chill response system is called the parasympathetic nervous system, as opposed to its high-strung, twitchy friend, the fight-or-flight sympathetic nervous system. Letting the parasympathetic nervous system regularly get more playtime will eventually rewire your brain to keep the intensity of the fight-or-flight system under better control. Number 3, express gratitude. We're not saying you're ungrateful. We're saying that as a brain hack, it's useful to consciously say the things that you're grateful for, whether it's speaking phrases in your mind, writing it down, or even saying it out loud. Those expressions of gratitude are not prejudiced by size. They can be about something good that happened in the past week, or an aspect of yourself that you're grateful for. Here, we'll start you off with an example or two. I'm grateful for the massive sale at my go-to electronics site that happened this week. I am grateful for who I am, because I can share brain hack tips, making the world a little brighter. This conscious focus on the positive is like pumping iron for the brain. Reps of gratitude practice have been found to strengthen things like social intelligence, motivation, and altruism. Number 4, make some music. Hey, if you have Rock Band or Guitar Hero, you could combine this with the first hack we mentioned. If you've ever dabbled in the practice of playing an instrument or doing weekly karaoke jams, you've made music. Bet you didn't realize you were sneaking in brain practice to enhance audio and visual perception, focus, and memory too. It's even good for the long haul. Musical training can slow down old age cognitive decline, so you can be more witty, sharp Betty White and less confused, forgetful Grandpa Simpson. And number 5, doodle. Ha! In your face, elementary school teachers! If you ever got in trouble for doodling when you were a kid, you can now rest assured that you were simply exercising your brain. You were ahead of your time. Art students were found to have enhanced creative abilities while practicing, and even casual doodling was found to have benefits. So no matter how trained or untrained you may be, simple doodling can improve imagination, focus, memory, and confidence. So there you have it. Are you surprised? We're guessing you've done one or more of these things and might have felt guilty for doing it rather than more important things. Now you know you were actually doing something healthy for your mind and brain. Which of these have you tried or experienced in the past?
Let's try this. Let's look at this one real quick.
Spend $500 and get $500 free. Hey, do you think TV ads are complicated and expensive?
Why does your brain prefer cake to broccoli? This seems like a simple solution. Cake tastes better, but it's not as simple as you might think. And the real answer gives us insights into why we act certain ways and how to break bad habits. Ready to dive in? Let's start with why and how our brains form habits. The why is simple. Habits free up our brain to learn new things. Think about it. If every day you woke up in the morning and had to relearn how to walk, put your clothes on, tie your shoes, make coffee, cook food, and eat, you'd be exhausted before you even finished breakfast. Habits help us learn something once, and then we can automatically act that behavior out without thinking. Simple, right? So how are habits formed? Notice how every single action you take doesn't become a habit. Your brain has to choose what to lay down as a habit and what not to do again. How do we do this? We learn a habit based on how rewarding the behavior is. This is called reward-based learning, and it has three components: a trigger, a behavior, and a reward. Let's say you see your shoelaces untied, that's the trigger, tie your shoes, that's the behavior, and then don't trip when you walk, that's the reward. The more rewarding a behavior is, the stronger the habit. In fact, our brains set up a hierarchy of behaviors based on their reward value. The behavior with the bigger reward is the one we act out. This goes all the way back to our caveman brains that are set up to help us get the most calories we can so we can survive. For example, sugar and fat have lots of calories. So when we eat cake, part of our brain thinks calories, survival, so we start to prefer cake over broccoli. Our brains remember which foods are more rewarding, which is why our parents never served dessert at the same time as dinner. Given a choice, we'd fill up on cake before we ate our vegetables. But it's not just calories that count. Our brains also learn the reward value of people, of places, and things. For example, think back to all of the birthday parties you went to as a kid. Your brain combines all of that information, the taste of the cake as well as all the fun you had with your friends, the presents, and the ice cream, of course. All of this information goes into a single composite reward value. And this reward value gets reinforced with each party we go to. When you are grown up and see a piece of cake, you don't have to relearn what cake tastes like or remember any of the fun from the times you ate it. The association you learned as a kid kicks in. You just know that eating cake makes you feel good, and it triggers that automatic and habitual response to eat it. Think of learning a habit as set and forget. Set the reward value and forget about the details. This is also why it's so hard to break bad habits. If you're trying to cut down on automatically eating every piece of cake you see, what is the standard advice that you get? Well, use your willpower and just don't eat it. Think of all the calories and what? Think your way out of eating? This might work sometimes, but more often than not, in the long run, it fails. Why? That's not how our brains work. To change a behavior, you can't just focus on the behavior itself. You have to address the felt experience of the rewards of the behavior. If it were as easy as thinking our way out of a behavior, we'd just tell ourselves to stop smoking, stop eating cake, stop yelling at our kids when we're stressed or whatever, and it would work. But it doesn't. The only sustainable way to change a habit is to update its reward value.
Yes, sir.
That's why
Yes,
it's called
sir.
reward-based learning after all. So how do we update reward values and break bad habits? One simple ingredient: Awareness. To change a habit, our brains need new information so they can see that whatever the value that they had learned in the past is outdated. By paying attention to the results of the behavior in the present moment, we can jolt our brain out of habit autopilot and see and feel exactly how rewarding or unrewarding it is for us right now. This new information resets the reward value on that old habit and moves better behaviors into automatic mode. Here's an example. In our Craving to Quit program, we don't tell users to force themselves to stop smoking or that smoking's bad for them. They already know this. Instead, we teach people to pay attention when they smoke. Most people start smoking when they're a teenager, so they've laid down a strong reward value for cigarettes, being young and cool at school, rebelling against their parents, all of that. We have them pay attention when they smoke so they can see how rewarding smoking is for them right now. What do they notice? After doing this exercise, someone in our program commented, "Smells like stinky cheese and tastes like chemicals. Yuck." Did you notice how this person paid attention? They weren't thinking, "Oh, smoking's bad for me." They brought awareness to their experience of smoking as they were doing it, noticing the smell and tasting the chemicals in cigarettes. Yeah, smoking tastes like crap when we actually pay attention. This kind of awareness helps us reset the reward value in our brain, which in turn helps us break that habit. Can awareness really help us change deeply ingrained habits? We wondered the same thing, so we actually did the scientific studies to see for ourselves. In our Eat Right Now program, where people use an app-based mindfulness training to learn to pay attention when eating, we built in a craving tool to measure exactly how rewarding certain eating behaviors are. The craving tool has them pay careful attention as they overeat or eat a certain type of food so that their brain can accurately update the reward value. We have found that it takes as few as 10 times of using the craving tool for people to update the reward value of their habitual behaviors and change their habits. In one study of our Eat Right Now program, we saw a 40% reduction in craving-related eating. Just think about this for a moment. This is huge. These studies show that people are no longer habitually reacting to their triggers. They don't have to force themselves to stop. They can move beyond willpower. How are they doing this? They're leveraging their brain's strength, the very same processes that set up their old habitual behaviors to break free from them. Now that you know how your brain actually works, it's time to update your approach to changing habits. Quit relying on willpower and go to the source, reward value. And don't forget, a little awareness goes a long way.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all, we gonna get some more motivation real quick. I like them quotes. Wisdom quote. And then we gonna get up out of here for the day. This has been another great day here on Expansion Pack. Make sure that when you going through your day-to-day, excuse me, you're paying attention to the methods that you use or the techniques that you use to get what you want out of your mind. And that's being said, let's run it.
Hello everyone, this is Joe Kudla, founder and CEO of Viore, and today I'm going to walk you through
perfectly free to be anxious, and the same may be said of guilt. If you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you'll spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living. That is to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. When we attempt to exercise power or control over someone else, we cannot avoid giving that person the very same power or control over us. Things are as they are. Looking out into the universe at night, we make no comparisons between right and wrong stars. nor between well and badly arranged constellations.
Yes, sir.
Philosophy is a man's expression of curiosity about everything, and his attempt to make sense of the world, primarily through his intellect. Zen does not confuse spirituality while thinking about God while one is peeling potatoes. Zen spirituality is just to peel the potatoes. If we cling to belief in God, we cannot likewise have faith, since faith is not clinging, but letting go. What we have forgotten is that thoughts and words are conventions, and that it is fatal to take conventions too seriously. A convention is a social convenience, as for example money. But it is absurd to take money too seriously, to confuse it with real wealth. In somewhat the same way, thoughts, ideas, and words are coins for real things. Other people teach us who we are. Their attitudes to us are the mirror in which we learn to see ourselves. But the mirror is distorted. We are perhaps rather dimly aware of the immense power of our social environment. It's like you took a bottle of ink and threw it at the wall. Smash! And all that ink spread. And in the middle it is dense, isn't it? And as it gets out to the edge, the little droplets get finer and finer, and make more complicated patterns, see? So in the same way, there was a big bang at the beginning of things, and it spread. And you and I, sitting here in this room as complicated human beings, are way, way out on the fringe of that bang. We are the complicated little patterns at the end of it. Very interesting. But so we define ourselves as being only that. If you think that you are only inside your skin, you define yourself as one very complicated little curlicue, way out on the edge of that explosion. Way out in space, and way out in time. Billions of years ago you were a big bang, but now you're a complicated human being. And then we cut ourselves off, and don't feel that we're still the Big Bang. But you are. Depending on how you define yourself. You actually are, if this is the way things started, if there was a Big Bang in the beginning. You're not something that's a result of the Big Bang. You're not something that is a sort of puppet on the end of the process. You are still the process. You are the Big Bang. The original force of the universe coming on as whoever you are. When I meet you, I see not just what you define yourself as. Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. I see every one of you as the primordial energy of the universe, coming on at me in this particular way. I know I am that too, but we've learned to define ourselves as separate from it. Just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over again.
Great. The new GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help small...
What you are is what you have been. What you will be is what you do now. Even as a solid rock is unshaken by the wind, so were the wise unshaken by praise or blame. Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. We are shaped by our thoughts. we become what we think. When the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves. Every morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. Do not look for sanctuary in anyone except yourself. If you propose to speak, no one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. The secret of health, for both mind and body, is not to mourn for the past, nor worry about the future, but to live the present moment wisely and earnestly. Drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the wise man, gathering it little by little, fills himself with good. There is nothing so disobedient as an undisciplined mind, and there is nothing so obedient as a disciplined mind. If you find no one to support you on your spiritual path, walk alone. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Have compassion for all beings, rich and poor alike. Each has their suffering. Some suffer too much, others too little. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule. Nothing can harm you as much as your own thoughts unguarded. In the sky, there is no distinction of east and west. People create distinctions out of their own minds, and then believe them to be true. If we fail to look after others when they need help, who will look after us? A generous heart, kind speech, and a life of service and compassion are the things which renew humanity. An idea that is developed and put into action is more important than an idea that exists only as an idea.
Episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. I hope y'all got something out of this as usual. And every day that we do this, y'all go ahead and listen to some more of this ending scene and some of the stuff they talking about. And I'm gonna holler at y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow, Mental Health Thursdays. This is DGTA TV. Aww. Peace.
State of bondage and justify why you should stay there. Don't let that happen. There's a power.
The system how it is, the system how it was, it brings out some consequences. One of these consequences is very intensively the feeling of many people not being enough. And so if there is a place to change this, so how do I get rid of this hole?
There's a power.
The system how it is, the system how it was, constantly needs to be filled up. That is the main question. And there, I would say, it's the mental direction, it's the mental state. So where do I need to change it? It's in the mind. It's in the way how I look at the world. If you only look at the world based on the system that you have been raised up, of course you are then part of the system. The system how it is, the system how it was, it brings out some consequences.
I gotta see this. See some more.
Which one do you think most people spend more time focusing on, what they have or what's missing?
What's missing?
What do you focus more on?
What's missing?
The focus on what's missing is not something that comes with someone who is a failure. It comes very much with people who are very successful. And the question then becomes, if you're always focused on missing, how can you sustain happiness?
You're in a permanent place of lack.
That's correct. So scarcity is there. So you'll have drive to keep staying on the hamster wheel of achievement, but you're not going to see much fulfillment, not in a sustainable way. It's impossible. And it has nothing to do with you or me, right? It's just software. And we got a soul. We're not software, right. But you run your software so often, you start thinking your mind is you versus my mind is a tool that I'm going to use. Or if I don't use it, it's going to use me. So the majority of people do that. And by the way, during COVID, that number exploded because so many things were taken from people. They were constantly focused on what's missing, and that produces nothing but pain. Which one do you think most people spend more time focusing on, what they have or what's missing?
What's missing?
What do you focus more on?
What's missing?
The focus on what's missing is not something that comes with someone who is a failure. It comes very much with people who are very successful. And the question then becomes, if you're always focused on missing, how can you sustain happiness?
You're in a permanent place of lack.
That's correct. So scarcity is there. So you'll have drive to keep staying on the hamster wheel of achievement, but you're not going to see much fulfillment, not in a sustainable way. It's impossible. And it has nothing to do with you or me, right? It's just software. And we got a soul. We're not software, but you run your software so often, you start thinking your mind is you versus my mind is a tool that I'm going to use. Or if I don't use it, it's going to use me. So the majority of people do that. And by the way, during COVID, that number exploded because so many things were taken from people. They were constantly focused on what's missing, and that produced